So, Travis Wayne Goodsell. I haven't found anything on the news about what happened last night. Not surprising, it's the weekend. But there was some activity this morning, as I had to call security. But nonetheless, I then found that I had 3 messages, 2 of which were from a guy that had tried calling me before. He represents a company that promotes books and wants to promote one of mine for a New York Times or Los Angeles Times. The last time somebody pulled this on me, they asked me to send them free copies. This book is $5. Buy your own copy and promote it yourself. You got my permission. But it's Celestial Predictions Almanac 2017, Identifying the Signs in the Heavens. It was published on the 31st of December 2016. So if you remember the video I did about the Big Book of Signs, I posted that on Academia. It's there for free. You don't have to pay $5. It includes this information. It's updated information from this book. This was a month, almost 2 months, after I had learned of the solar eclipse. And so that's the only thing that I really cover. That and the partial lunar eclipse on February 10th, where I went to the book signing. And so it was interesting to see my early start into this, because the solar eclipse is what triggered me to go back and cram my education on this subject matter and expand upon it, which is all pioneer research, because nobody in the world understands its connection to prophecy. And so being born and raised Mormon, I knew the connection and knew that we were entering into some exciting times, and I didn't expect what we got, as we're now 1 year left until the end of the latter days. It was my intention to do an almanac for each year, and so I tried to get this in before the end of 2016 for that reason. And it's 83 pages. It has only 1 rating, 5-star. Thanks, Beverly. But yeah, like I said, the Big Book of Signs, the complete Book of Signs, is on the Academia site for you. You get that information plus more. Because I hadn't found Revelation chapter 12 yet. I didn't make that. I didn't make that connection yet with this book. It was not until you see in July of 2017 on this website, or on this channel, it's the most popular video. Little did I know that that's what ended me with the church. And yeah, I won't go into that. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I deleted all of his messages. I'm not going to respond. But, you know, yeah, I put copyright stuff, but yeah, it's got an ISBN number. My old website doesn't exist. Church shut it down. They bought out the company that bought out the company. And then the new company shut me down. Bastards. And now I got my brother, who's been ordered by the church to shut me down on YouTube. They do not want my information out online to the public. Do you not get this, people? You know, even though this needed to be updated, and even the complete book of signs needs to be updated with extra material that we've since come up with since 2017, it's yeah, you can see that I'm still in the process of not realizing that this church is the great and abominable church yet. There's still some things that my career distanced me from church history, so I was unaware of that. So I was pursuing Joseph Smith as a translator and found out, yeah, he is. I guess I should have studied church history first. But if I did that, then I wouldn't have ever found out about the ancient languages and become who I am. So there is, because nobody typically is interested in signs in the heavens on this channel. It's TWG that most are more interested in the signs in the heavens. But you know, I'll throw it out since we're talking about signs in the heavens anyway. On the 21st, which is Tuesday, today's the 19th, so 20th, 21st, yeah, Tuesday. There's a sign in the heavens. And because of my background in education, I know exactly what this means. And every morning, I make sure to get the daily star chart for the big history of the latter days that I'll be doing an abridgment of, hopefully in Zion, not a cave. But but that's just one of the many projects that I have going and have planned to do. And yeah, it's from the Book of Mormon, in case you're unaware of what I'm talking about. Cave? What are you talking about, Travis? Ether? Hello? Cave? Why was he in a cave? What was he doing in the cave? Recording the history of the downfall of his people. So that's one of the potential scenarios that we're being warned about in the Book of Mormon for the latter days. Hey guys, this could happen. Don't do it. Listen to your Christ. And it's not Jesus. He's learning of the Jews. And so, I didn't make the connection to Joseph Smith Sr. as the Master Mason at Canandaigua, New York, and the reason why the Book of Mormon began there. See, the Book of Mormon was already being written long before 1827. And it's unclear as to how early it was being written. There was at least 116 pages written by 9/11/1827, 1826. So I don't know how long that took. It's likely that it was around 1823 to 24. 23 seems more likely, since Joseph Smith says that's when the messenger came to him. This is the bicentennial year of that. And so, but you'll notice that Virgo, the church symbol, the woman that is in prophecy, who gives birth to the man-child. In Revelation chapter 12, Isaiah, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son. That's her. Christianity screwed it up and said it's an immaculate conception of a human woman. That's how it's immaculate. It's out in outer space. She's not really pregnant. She's not really giving birth. But there's two, the virginids. One in the womb and another on the shoulders. And so this is the fall of the church. Government shall be upon his shoulders. Falling stars. And then the womb. The birth of the millennial kingdom. Oops, nope. Falling stars. Inverted pentagrams. And so that's how you interpret that sign alone. But in conjunction, you see that there's consistency. That's why this date is identified and not other dates, because these falling stars have been around for quite a while now and will be around for a little while longer. And so it's these other conjunctions that pointed out, red flagged me as I was searching into the future with my rocks and a hat. My Urim and Thummim. You have seen my rocks and a hat, haven't you? Come on. Where's the blue one? There you are. My Urim and Thummim. It was back when we had home teachers. They had gone on a Pacific cruise, and they either got it in New Zealand or China or wherever they went. They brought it back and gave me a bag of rocks, which is cool. I selected those two. I don't know if the others survived in the move, but wow. And so you have Venus. Venus is the bride of Mars. And I didn't recognize Mars yet as Nelson. The meaning of Russell Marion Nelson is Mars. That's the meaning. The red star. And and so that was wild. It needs to be updated in that book. But so Venus is therefore the church, just as Virgo is the church. And Venus is also a symbol of the bride of Lucifer. As Isaiah, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. It's referring to Venus, that because of its position in our solar system, in between us and the sun, it therefore never appears at the noonday position, because it's too close to the sun, because it's inside the solar system from where we are located on Earth. So Jupiter, yeah, we'll see that at the noonday position and others at the noonday position, but not Venus. Never. Because Venus is too close to the sun. And so thus Isaiah references that for the symbolism of the adversary and symbolizes it as a falling star. How art thou fallen from heaven? And so you see the falling stars in Virgo. Now you see Venus, the bride, the church of Mars, the president of the church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with the inverted pentagram, the falling star, on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. And Venus is entering into the sacrificial lamb constellation. Again, a fall symbol for the great and abominable church. So you see those on the two ends of the celestial sphere. And then you have Jupiter. He's stopped retrograding. He's now heading into his final position in Aries, awaiting the final day of the latter days, the great sign that will cause the crossroads of Christ, this cross of Christ, over the United States of America, where the Zion, millennial Zion, X marks the spot. And so Amun is from Emmanuel, and he's the Egyptian sun god at noonday. So again, go back to your visions account, the first vision and the second vision especially. Guess how they're described? Exactly as Amun, Emmanuel. And in Egyptian, his symbol is the universal symbol of the sun, which is a circle, and then a dot in the middle. Facsimile number 2. You are often told, if you ever study this, that it's the eye of God. That's what they refer to it as. And yes, it is. Freemasonry, the all-seeing eye of God. Okay, good job. You figured that part out. But I haven't heard of anybody talk about a solar eclipse. Nobody. And technically, it can also be the left eye, which would represent the moon, and thus a lunar eclipse. Even though the moon is portrayed without the eye in the middle. But the eye in the middle is the moon in this particular instance, as it's eclipsing the sun. And so facsimile number 2, you have the outer ring, just like the pupil, dilated, eclipsed. And it's somewhat of an annular eclipse rather than a total solar eclipse in that particular case because of the ring around. And that's what we got coming for October 14th in Virgo. And I knew about that, connecting it to the stories of Samson, the Sun King. And so knowing he's the Sun King, I knew deaths were associated with solar eclipses. So because of my education, it was an easy theory test to check for. And as I knew we were in the latter days, having made the discovery of Fox 13 News Utah talking about the total solar eclipse on the 21st of August that year, 2017. Yeah, I immediately made the connection. Oh, it's in Leo, is it? Oh, Samson kills a lion. Death of a lion. Solar eclipse in Leo, the lion constellation. And so Samson's first wife, she dies. The bride of the church. The church, the fall of the church. And so whether that is the fall of the church, whether this is the fall of the church, we have to wait and see. But there will be some kind of connection. And since the church has been on to me on this, they've purposely kept things secret because they didn't want me to know that it was fulfilled. But yeah, it is quite amazing how it happens. And unless the church knows about this, and they don't, they only knew about it because of me, you'd have to force the fulfillment, similar to the Assyrian king when he went to war in the Far East, and a solar eclipse appeared, and his priest led him astray. A funny story, yet tragic. And so, yeah, you have Saturn, who's the father of Jupiter, so Heavenly Father. He's God sitting on his throne in the prophecies. And so here he's in the belly of the high priest, the bowels of the high priest symbol, Aquarius. Because it's the water being poured out. That's the Egyptian sign for a priest. And so Jupiter is no longer riding on the white horse anymore. Because if you'd been paying attention to my videos, you'd know about this. And you'd been following it the whole time. Because in Revelation chapter 19, as we are setting up for this big event at the end of the latter days and the start of the millennium, you would have recognized the white horse. And I saw heaven opened. That's code for sign in the heavens, not a flying horse in outer space. Behold a white horse. And Rapture Palooza was hilarious. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, are the moments we too can share, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. That's Jupiter. And he was on the white horse. And he's now off the white horse, and he's parting through the waters, heading to his final destination. There's the theme song in the description below. Final Destination. Destination. 9-inch nails. Perfect. And his eyes were a flame of fire. Ta-da! See, this is now the sun symbol. Because the sun on 8 April 2024 will be in Pisces, whereas Jupiter is now the Lamb of God. That's why he's the Lamb of God, is because he will be in Aries, and he's actually finished his retrograde by this time. That's why it's now that he's now heading towards Aries. So he'll be in Aries retrograding for a pregnancy period, before he then exits out, and he's going to be at the hind legs 8 April 2024, on his way out to start the millennial reign of peace and happiness. Salem, Solomon, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. The Iron Rod, the Book of Mormon. Rule them with the Book of Mormon. The learning of the Jews, not Christians. And so, yes, then the false prophet, Russell M. Nelson, who wrought miracles before the Mormons with mistranslations and created interpretations of Scripture, oh dear God, and financial frauds and crimes, which has deceived Mormons who have received the MAGA hat on their foreheads and worshipped his image at CPAC. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. Doesn't that look great? Now you understand why Nelson is trying to murder me? He does not like that I know this information. But yeah, the marriage supper, wedding feast of the Lamb at the Temple of Zion. And it's not Independence, Missouri, by the way. But the church has lied and deceived us and withheld scriptures from us. So the Joseph Smith papers I've been going over with you. It's Southern Illinois. X marks the spot. The cross of Jesus, which is actually Emmanuel, the sun god, and thus the eclipse. The Egyptians knew all these prophecies from the Jews in the Bible. They got it from the Egyptians. It's all in the Egyptian records. That's why I'm able to talk about that with you. The eyes of Horus. His eyes are plucked out as he confronts Set, his uncle, to restore the throne of his father that was usurped by his uncle. Yeah. Solar and lunar eclipses. That's where we get them from. It's amazing. And of course, the two eyes of Horus is the word for Peter, which is seer, translated from the Egyptian. And the church didn't want those footnotes. They rejected my recommendation. Even though the Joseph Smith translation is in the footnotes saying it, all I wanted to do was say, in Egyptian, Peter is seer. I had the reference that the church has no interest in Joseph Smith or the Book of Mormon. Nope. They use it to lure people in to make money. And then they're going to destroy the church of Christianity, Jesus Christ, and then rise up in the millennium with Lucifer's church. That's the big battle. The whole latter days is the enemy setting things up to destroy Christianity and then rise up in the millennium with their millennial church of Lucifer. Whereas the prophecies say that the real Christ is going to have his kingdom. And the Book of Mormon with Ether says it may not happen. If Mormons are too wicked and they're all destroyed by the great and abominable church, yeah, Ether's going to be left alone in a cave doing the abridgments. And so, yes, Ether is this Christ symbol. So there's the angel standing in the sun on the back of the white horse in Pisces for April 2024 in verse 17. So, yeah, isn't that fun? So the other part is government. You see the back of the white horse, the sun, and there's a couple of others. Why don't I have Mars in here? Huh, interesting. Yeah, because Mars is at the top of the horns of Taurus, where the club of Orion is. Orion is also Osiris symbol. And so he's the usurper as a result. And so the fall of his church, as he is the usurper. So that's weird. Why don't I have... I guess I just wanted the particular signs. Didn't think that Mars should be a part of it. So Mars should be a part of it. So I'm going to have to go back and do another picture for you. Okay, so now I redid the picture and saw it's the new moon with the sun. That's usually when the eclipses occur. No eclipse on Tuesday, but it is a new moon. As the moon is too close to the sun, so it appears dark. And we have difficulty seeing it in the sky during the daytime. And it's on the back of the white horse with Mercury, the messenger of the gods, who I identified as the president of a previous administration. But it's the one who blows his trump. But it too is at the tail of the sea dragon, Cetus, even though it's on the back of the white horse. And so that has a fall symbol of its own, but it is a government situation. But the new moon, being for religion, being dark, is the transition from death into rebirth. And so fall into being born again, rising again, to ascend to the throne at the full moon stage. And so in that sense, it has the symbolism tied with the other religious symbols. Virgo having the falling stars at the shoulders and in the womb, and then Venus that is now entering into Aries with Mars at the usurper position. It's wild that he's... So, there you have it.